welcome back. We are here for part 2 of the hashtag IBB Top 3 Trilogy with the one and only Dr. H, and he's sharing with us his top 3 H's to success. Go back and watch part 1 if you missed it, and I'm really excited to get into the second H to success. So what? Don't hold back. What is it? I must know.
So the second H we'll be talking about today is homeostasis.
Whoa, fancy.
Homeostasis.
Homeostasis. Is that science?
It's only two, yeah.
Those are like doctor words. I like this.
So I think you know, if you've taken a college level biology course, they always talk about homeostasis, which
apparently I missed that day.
which is a biological term, but also just a concept that's been around forever. Like when we talk about yin and yang, we're talking about the balance, right? Homeostasis is a literal biological term for the balance of your body chemistry. So I think homeostasis and success is important, really balancing your life. I found very quickly in optometry school that if I just worked myself to the core, there was no room for, you know, we talk about mental health these days. Mental health is everybody. Like everybody, you got to maintain your own positive attitude. And if you burn yourself out on what you're doing, how can you possibly provide, for my case, patient care effectively if I'm worn out from working myself to the core?
Yeah, if you're not taking care of yourself, how can you take care of others?
Exactly.
And I've heard that would you agree that it's easier said than done?
Yeah, for sure. You know, because like I talked about in the last video, like the H that's going unexplained or unsaid rather, is hard work. Like you can't replace hard work. That's got to be on your plate if you want to be successful, I think. And that goes for everything. Kind of the holistic approach we were talking about. Relationships take work. Family, you know, maintaining, everything takes work. So whether it's just business or whatever, you know, but you got to maintain a balance alongside that hard work.
Do you feel like so like when you say like the homeostasis, when you put it in like a yin and yang, like for me, I was like, oh, this is cool. Like this is like the legit, you know, scientific way to explain that. So thank you for that. I'm gonna steal that as well.
No problem.
Thank you, doctor. But for me, like and I almost did it, and that's where I let the work side just run my life.
Sure.
And I understood, and you understand, and for those of you watching this that have obtained success in the work life, in the work side of life, so to speak, you have to make a lot of sacrifices in your personal life. But I for me, it was like I didn't even try to balance it. Like I threw like on my health. Like I was just like gaining weight, quit exercise, I literally threw away everything besides work. If that makes sense. And then getting married, you know, I was same deal. I was like, well, it boggles my mind that your marriage or your relationships outside of work, like you put it's not called work, so to speak, you know, but it just we just expect it to all work out. Like you're working so hard at work, and you're like, well, if I don't work so hard, then it won't work out. And then you go home, or you go to your personal life, and you're like, well, why isn't this working out? Like, because you know, you're on cruise control. So I think that this is a big gut check for me, is having homeostasis at all times, where I'm working hard at work, but not to the point where I don't have anything left in me to bring home for the family. So, because we throw away so many great relationships, and we throw away so many personal things we built just because it's like you can't just, it's not off and on. You're always on. So like, is there anything, I'm sorry, I'm like going on here.
Because that is success to me, is like maintaining all those things. You know, that's why the first stage we talked about was a holistic approach. All those things are kind of encompassed in that. And you are an entire person, and that entire person has to be successful. So you need to leave enough in the tank that you can like spread those resources. We're all human, you know?
And something that you've talked about is like and I've heard, it depends on, you know, who you listen to, who you talk to, but some people are like, well, I go to work, I put on my business hat. Yeah. When I go home, I put on my dad hat or my husband hat or whatever. You know, something you said, like if you have true homeostasis and you have a holistic approach to things, you talk about you don't really need to wear a hat. Right. And so for me, like, again, another thing I'm gonna steal, but like, can you talk more about just be, how you said you like be you, don't just be wearing a bunch of different hats all the time?
Yeah, because when I think about people wearing hats, you know, they say, well, you need to put on your business hat. Think about this way. I don't know that that's who I am. I think putting on a hat is me trying to transform myself into something else that I'm not. I want my business to reflect me as a person. And I think that, you know, we can strive to improve in different areas. You know, when I put on my doctor hat every day, I don't necessarily put that on. It's something I carry with me all the time. You can leave your hat at home, James.
I did today.
You can leave your hat at home. I think that, you know, we wear those hats all the time, and you just need to be yourself. And as long as you're, you know, we'll talk about in the third video, like, if you're positive, if you maintain a good attitude, and if you're passionate about what you do, those hats, you're wearing one hat and it's yourself. Yeah. And it's the you hat, and that's the only one you need to wear.
Wear your hat.
Wear your hat.
Wear the you hat. Yeah. That's dude, that's awesome. And I think that is something that obviously with IBB was the game changer for me, was that was the moment it was James versus, and I'd be interested to get your feedback on this and share with anybody out there, that, because I feel like you get, you know, like your certifications, like you actually got your doctorate. I mean, but like you kind of, I felt like I couldn't be James anymore, because James was not the expert, and James was just a college kid, and James ran, you know, like James just was a lead singer in a band. Like I did all this stuff, but it had nothing specifically to do with what I was doing on a day-to-day basis. Yeah. So I felt like I had to, like, well, if I talk about who James was, then nobody will respect who James is now, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, which it kind of, I mean, it had the opposite effect, but like, is that something that you've had to battle through as well? As like, well, I'm a doctor, but hey, by the way, I'm also me. I'm also me. And now, I guess, how do you not lose yourself in the process of like climbing this professional funnel? Like you're getting pushed into this professional funnel where you don't feel like you can just act normal anymore. Yeah,
I mean, the process or the thought process of maintaining homeostasis is really what got me through a lot of those things. And just, you know, I'm a millennial. Like, I battled it for so long.
I embrace it.
Yeah, but I have embraced it now. And you know, when I think about how I want to run my practice, or when I think about how I want to treat my employees, like that's just who I am. And you know, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, without, you know, kind of taking a holistic view of my workforce. Like, you know, they have lives outside of their work.
They're not just, again, going back to, you're not a transactional person. That is not your style. Your style is not transactional. It is way more, and that's cool, man.
And if I tried to put on my hat and force it to be someone I'm not, my transactional hat, I'm gonna be a fraud. So I think success is finding you, being comfortable with you, and maintaining you throughout the whole process.
Because that's where too, like, I would want to come work for Ryan Hooper, and then if I showed up to your location in Rocky River, and I'm like, oh, hey, what's going on, man? How are you? And you're like, whoa, time out. I'm now wearing
You're past due, buddy.
Whoa. 3 minutes late, you're fired. I got my employer hat on. You're in trouble. We're going to need to talk to HR. Yeah. And then I put on my HR hat and be like, you're fired.
Yeah, and if that's you, I mean, it's going to reflect you. That's fine. But, you know, I've tried to maintain myself throughout this whole process, and sink or swim, I'm going to be me. And I think that's a measure of success as well.
Yeah. I like it. Awesome. Awesome. Well, very cool. Thank you for that. Yeah. I'm looking forward to your final piece and your bonus tip video as well. And thank you all for being here. And until next time.
Stay burn proof.
All right.